going on, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. So, I just finished watching episode 2 of the first season of Dragon Ball. This episode was funny. It's really funny because a lot of you guys are telling me that, this, I guess, first half of all of this is funny, and then it kind of starts getting a little serious later, but it's so interesting to see how they kind of look the same, but the only difference is that he has a tail and she doesn't. And so they're still on this adventure, and now I don't know if I'm saying this right, Dino Caps or Dio Caps. Anyway, she has one that turns into like a little house or something for them to just rest at, I guess, until they continue their adventure. So they go into this little house and she turns on the TV. And it's so interesting for him to watch the TV and think there's someone really in there. They're trapped in there. He's like, oh no, we should get them out. He's trapped and singing that horrible song. So then she changes the channel, and then there's this like a love scene or whatever, and you see her all heart-eyed watching the whole thing. And then all of a sudden when they were about to kiss, this monster comes up on the screen, scares her. He's laughing, and they have a little bit of an exchange, and then he said, I'm hungry. You must be hungry too. You're drooling. And she's actually really drooling because of what she saw on TV, which I think is really cute. So anyway, so now they're having this dialogue, and she like really smells him. Like, he apparently smells really bad. He doesn't know what a shower is. And she's kind of talking to him like he's supposed to know, but she's still explaining all these things. So she's like, all right, let's get you in the shower and get this over with. So he strips down, and I was not prepared for them to show us his little thing. I was like, yo, what are they doing in this cartoon? And on top of that, I forgot to mention that, maybe I did mention it in the last episode, where she wanted that Dragon Ball, his Dragon Ball so bad, and she was willing to show him her undies for the Dragon Ball. So I'm starting to see that this anime is a little interesting. So she's like, oh, you've got to cover your front. He said, oh, like this. I'm like, oh my God. So then he gets in the bath, and she's washing his hair, and she's bathing him, and all of a sudden she sees his tail, and she's like, what do you do with that? Is that, super glued on there? He's like, no, all the boys have tails where I'm from. So, what's funny, he's like, well, wait a minute, come to think of it, my grandpa doesn't have a tail, but I do, but you don't. Like, why don't you have a tail, type of thing? So then they're done. Now she's in the bath. So she's in there trying to enjoy her bath, and he's just standing there watching her. So she screams, and she's like, why are you standing there? And he was being sweet, because he's like, I want to wash your back just like you were going to wash mine. So she's like yelling at him and saying how I'm damn near a woman and all this other stuff. So he's like, telling her, he was like, well, you don't have a tail. Like, now he's kind of getting on her because she doesn't have a tail, and she's getting so frustrated with him. So then finally she gets out the bath, and she's doing her hair, whatever. So now we see another clip of these bad guys. I guess he's an emperor, and he's got his little sidekick with him, Shu, and he's sitting there yelling, trying to contemplate on how to get the other Dragon Ball. So at one point he's yelling so much that he farts like really bad. And Shu looks like he's terrified of him. So he's sitting there sweating, terrified already. So he's like, you didn't hear that, did you? He's like, what? He got in trouble for hearing his fart. Like, what is happening? What is happening? So then I guess there's another girl that comes in after that part, and she basically tells him, like, I didn't get the Dragon Ball, but I have some information. So I guess she has an idea of where the other ones are or who has it. So her and Shu goes on a mission. They go to some kind of skull forest or skull area or whatever. They end up going there. Meanwhile, Goku and Bulma are at the house, and she's trying to feed him. She's giving him coffee. She's got bread. It looks like, cold cuts or whatever. And he's like, oh, what is this? And whatever that is, it's tart. And he's like, you know what? I'm going to go get my own food. So he goes to the same area that the bad guys are at. And you see all these glowing eyes behind them. There's a bunch of wolves there. So they start going at it. And Goku's all like fighting all of them. And because he sees the plane and thinks that it's a bird. And it's not a bird, but he's like, I saw it first. But it's really like a plane. So then they're fighting, and he's fighting all these wolves off, and he finally grabs one to take home for dinner while he finds a centipede in another hand. I'm like, ew, oh my gosh. So anyway, and then he has this stick. I meant to say something about that in the last review. He has this stick that apparently, I guess it's magic because it extends to his advantage to whatever he needs. So I find that interesting. So at this point, he goes back to the house with the wolf and the centipede, and he's offering her food, and she's like, ew, that is so disgusting. So he cooks the food, eats it, goes back in the house, and I don't know, I guess they're getting ready to go to bed or something like that, but she's like laying down. No, she makes the bed for him. And he's excited because he's like, oh, this is a soft bed. But she's like, nah, you're sleeping on the floor. So she's in the mirror kind of brushing her teeth or whatever. And there was something that she said about her grandpa. And I forgot what that was. But anyway, so they go to bed. And then in the next morning or the next day, or maybe it's in the same night, she's like laid out, one of her legs are open, and I'm like, yo, why they got her laying like this? So then he wakes up and he looks at her, he's like, see, I knew there was room for the both of us. And he lays between her legs and leans back right on her stuff, and then he turns around and looks at it, and then he smacks it, and I'm like, what are you doing? I'm like, why is he doing this? He was like, and then he screams, she wakes up, she's like, what are you doing? He's like, your balls. Somebody took your balls. And she actually sees, she's like, no, they're still here, but I think he kind of, oh God. So then now he's like, all right, he's going to go outside and start exercising or training or whatever. So he's picking up this rock, he breaks it, then he picks up another one and realizes it's a tortoise. So they're talking, and I don't know how the tortoise got there, but they have some type of dialogue. She gets the tortoise some water, and he's like, all right, I don't know how to get back, basically. So they decide to help him out. Well, Goku decides to help him out. And she's arguing with him. And she's like, well, we gotta help him. And they're going back and forth. And he's still kind of teasing her about not having a tail. And so he puts the tortoise on his back. He's like, geez, like, are all girls like this from where you're from? And then I think they're still arguing along the way when she finally catches up to them because she sees this big dinosaur. And then he's still talking about her not having a tail, like, which I think is hilarious. So this was a pretty funny episode. This was a pretty funny episode with a couple of shockers. I guess this is something I got to get used to when watching this, because this is a bit different for me to be seeing certain things that kind of had me sitting there like, they're really showing that? But it is what it is. But I definitely enjoyed this. I hope you guys enjoyed it too. Also, just a reminder, you guys, I just want to announce to those of you who did not watch my video yesterday, I have opened up YouTube memberships. So for those of you who want to join, there are 2 levels to my memberships. Level 1 is $2.99, so you guys get priority replies. You guys get, I believe, shout outs, special polls, and you guys get to have live streams with me. And then the second level, the Scarlite level 2, is $4.99. And that one, you get all of my reactions to movies, to series, and any and all uncut try not to laughs. So you get that plus everything that the $2.99 package has. So there's 2 levels. Go over and check that out. It would really help me out a lot if you guys go. And if you want to see my reaction to these episodes along with movies and my uncut try not to laughs, go over and sign up to be a member. All that stuff will be members only. All right. So go and check that out, you guys. But in the meantime, I hope you guys enjoyed my review. Leave your comments down below. Let me know what you guys think. And if you haven't done so, subscribe to my channel, hit like, share, and don't forget to hit the notification bell so you guys can get notified whenever I pop up on your feed. I'll see you guys later. Toodles!